Rean podcast វល់ត្រឡប់មកវិញជាមួយនឹងរដូវកាលទី3 episode ពិសេសតែម្ដងដោយសារតែរដូវកាលទី3ខ្ញុំផ្ដោតទៅលើ Power Duo ប៉ុន្តែនេះគឺជាការនៃលើកលែងដោយសារខ្ញុំមានភ្ញៀវពិសេសមែនតើនៅថ្ងៃមុនអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាបានឃើញខ្ញុំតែញ៉ាំកាហ្វេមួយគាត់ហើយឃើញអាវខ្ញុំគិតថាមិនបាច់និយាយច្រើនទេហើយខ្ញុំជឿថាបងប្អូនក៏ធ្លាប់មើលឃើញគេថាធ្វើជើងក៏ដូចជាសមត្ថភាពគាត់នៅក្នុងការប្រកួតជំរឿជាតិជាមួយនឹងប្រទេសកម្ពុជាយើងផងដែរនៅក្នុងការប្រកួតផ្សេងក៏ដូចជាមិត្តភាពហើយនឹង AFF Mitsubishi Cup អញ្ចឹងយើងទៅជួបគាត់ទាំងអស់គ្នាបាទភ្ញៀវកិត្តិយសយើងថ្ងៃនេះគឺ Nicholas Taylor Dung. Yes, let's not do the protocol. That's it.
Okay.
All right. By the way, this is your camera.
Okay,
like your angle if you want to address the audience or like send message and stuff.
Okay.
Okay. អញ្ចឹងអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាកុំបារម្ភបើសិនជាលឺខ្ញុំនិយាយភាសាអង់គ្លេសខ្ញុំនឹងព្យាយាមដាក់ subtitle ដោយសារ Nick គាត់អត់ right call you Nick right?
Yeah, Nick
right? Yeah. គាត់អត់សូវគាត់អត់ចេះខ្មែរ like do you know Khmer at all?
Very little.
Okay.
I've picked up a little bit of words since I've been here.
Yeah. I think you will because you told me you want to learn.
Oh yeah, I want to learn for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So for people who doesn't understand us, well, I mean if you understand us then like we're going to put subtitle. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we'll have subtitles.
Let's start, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I don't want to ask question. I don't like to ask question, but I want to know. I want to know how it started like of course, your football career, right? You call it football, you don't call it soccer.
Yeah,
right?
I don't like calling it soccer.
But you're from Florida, right?
No, I'm actually from Texas.
Okay,
yeah,
that's what I thought. But last time you said you're from Florida because you flew from Texas to Florida, or you you were playing in Florida.
So I was playing in Florida.
Okay, that's what.
But I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas.
It's
huge, man. I've been there.
It's awesome.
It's a lot of Cambodian there as well, right?
There actually are a lot of Cambodians there.
And Asian, Caucasian, they live there.
Yeah, honestly, all kinds of Asians are there.
Okay.
A big Vietnamese scene.
Okay, a nail salon.
There's a lot of nail salons. But there is a good group of Khmer people there. My immediate family is in there, like obviously my mom, dad,
definitely,
brother. But also my Khmer grandparents are also in Dallas. So well, they're in the other part of the Dallas Metroplex called like Fort Worth, Euless area.
Okay.
So that's where they live, and they have their own little group of people that they know. So
wow,
it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I spent some time in the U.S. Well, I mean, 5 years.
Yeah.
So kind of understand how things works a little bit there as well. But I mean, from different states, the way of living, the way of life is. It's not the same.
No, it changes. The U.S. is it's massive, man. Like, it's huge. And I think it's cool also that you get to go to these different states. I mean, it's in the same country, but they all have like their own thing about them.
It's almost, it's like Europe for me because I've been to Europe as well.
Yeah.
Like when you move from one country to the other, it just, the culture and everything. But in the U.S., it's just like United States, right?
Right.
United States. It's like each state has its own. I think even the like legislation, the regulation, all the thing also kind of vary like between like depends on their own government, like
right.
So,
I mean you have the federal government. I'm not really big into government, but
federal
government, and then each state has its own government so that it can like manage. It's really cool. It's really cool. And I mean, like you said, like we're the United States, but each state has its own little like subculture. For Texas, we're known for like a lot of everything we have is like supersized. The saying is everything is bigger in Texas. That's like a big thing. And then cowboys, obviously. Like
of course,
if you think about Texas, you think about cowboys, like the cowboy hat on the horse. The whole thing.
Yeah, from the movie.
It's like the Wild West.
Yeah, the Wild West.
That is Texas.
But for me though, like because I grew up watching wrestling. This is like Stone Cold, so from Texas.
Sure, yeah.
And then I start to watch some sport like Mark Cobain. He's also from Texas, right? Like,
I think so.
But he's like representing a lot of like Texas state.
Yeah.
That's why I thought that he's from there. But I mean, whenever I see him, I just feel like he's wearing cowboy hats all the time.
Sure.
And this is like my image, right? Like, like each person have their own memory of states, right?
Exactly.
Wow. So let's start with something I think I'm really curious about. Like usually when I go abroad, when I move from country to the other, what I experience like we call it cultural shock, right?
Right.
For you, for instance, like have you been to Cambodia before when you first starting to like to join the national team?
No.
Was it your first time?
My first time in Cambodia was in September for the national team.
For real?
Yeah.
How did you cope with that? Like
it was a culture shock for sure.
Shock. What was the biggest shock that you experienced when you first arrived?
I would just say just the overall environment. Like, I mean, you've been to the U.S. It's
the weather.
No, like the weather was fine. Florida is very similar.
Okay.
So where I was playing, it was very similar. Like it's hot, humid,
all right.
like sunny all the time. It rains. Like whenever I came, it was I guess during the rainy season here. So it was raining in the afternoon, which is literally the exact same in Florida. Like it's sunny, hot, humid in the morning, and then in the afternoon it rains.
Oh wow.
So very similar to Cambodia. So it was no problem with the weather. But I would just say like coming in, just I don't know, like looking around, like driving through the city. I mean, we drove from the airport to the hotel the national team was staying at, and just like looking around and seeing just everything, taking it all in. It was a bit of a culture shock for sure. And then I would say the food. Food is definitely a culture shock.
But you okay with it right now? Or
I mean, I had eaten Khmer food before. I mean,
of course, like the parents.
My parents, grandparents. My grandma loves to cook. But eating it every day for every meal, especially breakfast, like having rice and like noodles and stuff like that for breakfast, I was like, this is weird. Because in the U.S., normally I'd have like oatmeal, eggs.
I know.
Like typical like American.
Pancakes.
Sure.
Scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs, the whole thing.
The bacon and all these things.
Yeah, but here it was like, eating rice.
I can tell. I mean, imagine you telling this to other who hasn't been. I mean, no offense to anyone. It's just like you need to travel to experience all of these things,
of
right?
Course.
I mean, like you have to respect people when they have cultural shock because it's normal when you change from one place to the other. It's just like the weather, for example.
Sure.
I mean, like I didn't mean to say, oh, you're not used to the weather. It's just like these things happens, right? When you travel, definitely you travel from, say, from the hot weather, like say for Australia, for example, they have like completely different seasonal patterns than the other country.
Exactly.
It might be winter here, but then it's summer over there. So when you go there, I'm like, what? Yeah, right.
Exactly,
That's normal, right?
Yeah, weather is definitely the I guess the easiest one to say about like.
It's like an allergy, for example. Like you're gonna get that kind of shock, right?
For sure.
And then you need to prepare.
Yeah, exactly. And I was also, but for me, like I said, the weather was the same as Florida. So the biggest one, food for sure. And I had read things and just like preparing myself to come to Cambodia for the first time. It was just like, what do I do? Do I take any like anti-diarrhea medicine just in case?
Actually, you did. Did you?
No, I didn't. I didn't. So I was fine actually.
Wow.
I adjusted a lot better than I thought I was going to.
Oh.
Like, I don't know, maybe most people know this, I'm not sure, but when I first came to Cambodia, I landed probably around like 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And then the hotel was probably 30, 40 minutes away. Drove to the hotel, literally put my stuff down in my hotel room, met my roommate, got changed, and went straight to training.
Yeah, you told me the story.
Training. After 27 hours on a plane,
and then you
just training right away. First time meeting all my teammates, the coach, everything, having to like show myself. Bro, it was crazy. But I didn't feel like really jet lag. I was tired for sure. But like I had so much adrenaline. I was so excited and like so happy to be here that I was just like, let's go. I'm ready to go. I don't need to sleep. I'm doing anything. Like I'm ready to just
I remember seeing the interview at the airport and then like they took picture of you. It was big. I mean like not to compare to other, but I mean like we usually get people from abroad to join the national team, but I mean from the US we have Kanchesa, like Kanchesa, she's the jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
Like that's one thing, and then you came after, and then like the excitement, they want to see fresh face and then see new challenges and all of that. So it was really exciting, and then you delivered. For me personally, you delivered the expectation because you cannot hire, you cannot lie about this. It's hey, I can play, and then you cannot perform. Then
exactly.
Your sport is like that, right?
Yeah.
When you say something, you have to back it up.
Yeah,
Right?
and that, yeah.
But you
that
didn't
is
say
true.
anything.
I didn't say anything.
But what I'm saying is just like the general public expectation.
Right. That's a big thing, especially like you said with sports. Like having an expectation, especially as an athlete, like it can put a lot of pressure on you. And then, I mean, so when I went back to the U.S. and was kind of just explaining my like experience to all my friends and like teammates, stuff like that. One of the things that I like touched on was during the game of Bangladesh when I was like coming onto the field, like everyone in the stand, like in the stadium was like cheering when I was coming on, and like that was first of all, that was a very surreal experience for me because, I mean, yeah, I play professional soccer in the U.S., but the crowds that we get are very small, so like I never had that kind of experience of a few thousand people like cheering, you know, like. You know what I mean? Like having that feeling, and so, I mean, there was a brief moment in my mind where that public like perception, expectation, like crossed my mind of like, oh, these people are here to watch you, whatever, you have to perform. It's your first time here, but in those moments though, like I think as you play and as you experience those things, like being able to kind of disconnect from those kinds of thoughts and allow yourself to be in the moment and embrace those moments, allow you to kind of absorb that pressure and just play free and not let that pressure affect you or like weigh on you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. I think from like keep saying this, from what I see, what I've seen you have done in the field and off the field. Surprisingly, you're quite a humble guy. I mean, comparing to what I experienced before with other people. I'm not bashing anyone, just saying from experience here. I mean, like, usually, like, you know, because of course you play in a team and you're not even from around here, and people expected you to, you know, going around and doing a lot of things. Sure. And definitely, like, there's a lot of rumors saying, oh, you're going to this place, or you're gonna. We can keep that for later.
Yeah, that's a later
because you already
topic.
told me, right? But I'm not gonna ask about that. It's not my job.
Sure.
But like, how was like how much impact of the like experience you have from, you know, entering the field for the first time? Did it help you like perform better, or was it like you feel like, oh man, I need to play like harder or trying harder to prove myself, or was it just like naturally, like your natural instinct to just be you? And
that's kind of what I was hitting on is, I mean, I think obviously like having all the people like cheering,
the hype and all
helps.
This, yeah.
It helps because it's like it gives you a lot of confidence. People are excited to watch you. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, like you can't. Especially in sports, you can't allow those like outside factors like influence you too much, because then that's when you get lost in the game, and it doesn't allow you to play. So like you have to embrace it in a moment, and then in another moment just forget it and just play and be free. Because in athletes, I mean, I'm sure all athletes can attest to this, but you play your best whenever you play free.
Always give your 110%.
110%, and there's no worries on your mind. You're just having a good time. You're just playing how you know how to play, trusting yourself, believing in yourself, and yeah.
Wow, man. So back to your, you know, your first came here, right? Like, did you travel abroad before you came to Cambodia?
Yeah, I went.
Like, how often did you do that?
Not very often. Oh. So I spent most of my time in the U.S. I mean, I traveled throughout the U.S. Frequently for football when I was growing up. But my first time abroad, I think, was 2019. I went to Europe and did a little European tour. Oh, okay. So I was only abroad for about a week, but I went to 7 different countries within that week. Okay, yeah, like the Euro tour. Yeah, the Euro tour. I did that too. Yeah, it's so easy in Europe. You can just drive 3 hours, new countries. Actually, for me, it's much. What I remember is so much easier to go around in Europe than in the US. Oh, because it's so small. So small. Like, okay, for example, Texas, bro. Texas, like from the top of Texas to the bottom, probably takes you like anywhere from like 12 to 16 hours to get just to drive, and then across probably the same. Yeah, like, it's huge. I did that. That's one state. Yeah, and then you have 50 other states. So like, just imagine how big. I mean, yeah, you said you did like a cross country trip.
Yeah, I did.
And yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. For me, it was an eye-opening trip because, like I said, you can hear a lot of people saying this and that and tell you a bunch of stories, right?
Yeah.
But once you're being there, you're experiencing the whole situation by yourself. I mean, like, your reaction to it is differently. It's yours, right? It's authentic. At least you know, like, whether this is right or wrong. Like, hey, the US is big, and like, how big, right? Let's drive through it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, holy moly, it's big.
It's huge.
And it's just like, wow. And I thought that I know enough already about the US, and then I'm like, nope, not at all. Only like 5%.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to explore there.
Yeah.
If anyone has the opportunity to go to the US, they definitely should.
Yeah.
It's quite the experience,
Yeah,
I'd say.
definitely. Yes. There's a lot of Cambodian as well, like back in the day. I mean, before, I don't know. I don't know when, but I think now it changes. Like, people always like dream about moving to live in the US.
Yeah.
It's a stereotype. And all of a sudden now, like, because in the country we have all the things we wanted. I mean, as you have a job, you work hard, you'll be fine. Before it wasn't the case. Like, people thought that, you need to get out from the country to get a better life. But nah, not really. Like, that's what I heard. Like, from my parents, they don't want me to come back. When I first,
really?
Yeah, I mean, it was back then, but now they understand why I came back.
Yeah.
Because, they thought it was better off for me to live in the US. I'm like, nope, I want to go home.
Well, the US is also very expensive too. So.
Well, I mean, compared to Europe, not that much, but it is expensive.
Compared to here, oh, bro, expensive.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
So expensive.
But I mean, like what I saw from how you kind of move on from one place to the other, your way of like your lifestyle, it's actually pretty convenient for here.
Sure.
Like, you don't mind going to like regular coffee and stuff. Like, for some people, they do like to go to like a fancy place, like say an expensive coffee or dinner or meal. It can be expensive too here.
Yeah.
It depends on how you live, right?
Sure.
Like, but your lifestyle actually make it so much easier for you to blend in.
Yeah.
And just like connected with the local.
Yeah.
And plus now, like, everyone kind of speak English at least. Like, even some broken English still understandable, right?
Right.
And that's why I said it's so much better, because before, like, learning English was like a priority. Like, you have to go to school for this, and you have to like put so much effort to get better at English, like grammatically, writing skill, listening skill. It was like a standard. Right. But now, like, even my kids grow up speaking English. I mean, we didn't try to force him to learn. It's just like the consumption of media, and then the surrounding, and then like whatever he kind of like came through, and then he just became that. But he speaks Khmer as well fluently.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was gonna say something like that. That media, social media especially, has really influenced like this younger generation. Like, a lot of it is English based, and yeah, people are learning English just watching these things. Like, I have I guess he's family, like he's a relative. By the way, in Cambodia is like, you can have relatives that are like completely unrelated to you, but they're still relatives, which I think is so interesting. But anyways, I'm gonna call him a relative. So he's younger relative. And I was talking to him, and he speaks really good English. I think he just finished high school. And I was like, dude, like, how'd you learn to speak? You sound like
You've been abroad.
You've been abroad, like lived in the U.S. a little bit. He's like, I learned through anime. I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, I've watched a lot of anime, a lot of shows, and it's like English dubbed, and he learned from that. That is crazy.
My son English is way better than me.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like, grammatically, and the way he understands like certain terms that I never like. I have to think about things that I want to say sometime, and then he just like naturally like this. I mean, he also can flip between Khmer and English too. Like, instantly he just like go to Khmer, and then all of a sudden he goes like, whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. Like,
that's crazy, man. Yeah. I will say though, I sound like I'm older than I am. I'm only 24, but I will say the younger generation is growing up. Very smart people. Very, very smart people.
Yeah.
Like, the technology really helps them educate if they use it correctly.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, like, for Khmer, though, 24 is young. Like,
it is young.
Really young.
In Asia, what I've learned is that 24 is very young.
And
especially in football.
Based on my personal experience, I would say until you hit 30, that's like when you're like expected to understand a bunch of things and then like knowing the way of life, what somehow accomplish in your career or business, whatsoever you're doing. 30.
Yeah, 30.
Yeah, but like under 30, you kind of like
you can do whatever.
Fooling around and just try new things, right?
Right.
You can fail,
right.
you can try like many errors. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the US, like 21,
25 is like whenever you should.
25, yeah.
You should have your stuff together.
Yeah.
Because usually, you graduate university at like 22. So then you have a couple years to kind of like figure yourself out.
Yeah.
And then by 25, you should have at least like a good foundation.
Yeah.
Like
but
you should be building.
Most of my friends, like after they graduate, like even like they hit 21, 22, they seems like they know what they're doing already. Yeah. I was like completely lost. I'm like, no, I'm just going to enjoy my life.
Yeah.
That's like, I feel like I was so far behind from them because like they seems to know like where they're gonna go next, like grad school, for example. I wasn't even care like about grad school. I'm just like, okay, graduated, I'm gonna go back home and do things and see how it
yeah, exactly. I mean, there's power in both, I would say. I mean, having that security, like getting right out of university, knowing what you're gonna do next is like it's easier, I guess, more comforting.
Yeah, at least.
But having like leaving university or having kind of a lot of uncertainty in your life in a moment, I think there's also power in that because then it's kind of like a blank canvas. You can kind of do whatever you want to. You can kind of create your own little future. You know what I mean?
True.
So like for you, for example, like you finished university, like you said, you were lost, but you had kind of an idea of what you wanted to do, and that allowed you to explore that. If you would have had the grad school, the job lined up, I don't think you would have been able to explore that.
Wouldn't be here talking to you.
No, you wouldn't.
No, I would be in the office right now signing papers.
Yeah, exactly. But I was very similar in a way. I finished university. I mean, I graduated with a degree, but like I wanted to play football, and that was all I wanted to do. Like I had no plan B. Like the thought of me working, like I interned kind of with like an accountant, and worked in his office, and I hated it. I hated it, man. Like walking in at 9 a.m. and it was just like, it just was not my thing. And so from that moment, like I really knew that I was like, I better be playing football as my career or I'm going to be miserable. So, but I'm glad it worked out.
So let me guess, you studied economy in school?
Yeah, I studied economics. I actually went to university first for engineering, chemical engineering. But that's very hard to manage with football. Because football in university is a full-time job, and then obviously students, you're working 2 full-time jobs, and it is a very hard task. And I'm not a genius by any means, so very hard for me. I had teammates that were able to do it. One guy majored in computer science and I think civil engineering, and he works for Google now. So, but like genius. Me, not a genius.
No, I can relate to that. I'm also not a genius, but I just know what I want, that's all.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's all it matters sometimes. You don't have to be like outstanding or like stand out in the crowd to be an accomplished person. Like, I mean, for me, I always value like like there's a saying here in Cambodia where people think that a successful person is a person to have a certain achievement, like acknowledged by a lot of publics, right? Mm-hmm. And then also like being called successful person, this and that. Like I have nothing against that. But like my own definition of success is just enjoying life, doing my things and having the time to accomplish that and without any pressure and without harming any like one in the process of doing so, right?
Right.
And your life is so much easier, man, when you just found that.
So much easier.
Like, yeah, that's my limit, right? I'm not gonna push more than that just because, it's just how we live.
You're not competing with anyone. You're just, you're like, okay, this is the life that I am wanting to live, and I'm just gonna live the life that I want. And then you're not focused on, this person's doing this person's doing that. I need to, like compete or like judge like where you are in life based on someone else.
Definitely.
So
that's why I don't have a car.
You don't have a car?
I was not like paying attention to other people who were trying to tell me that I should get a car because what I'm doing and stuff. And whenever I go out to film and stuff, I need to bring my equipment. I should have a car to put it in there. I'm like, no, I can get a tuk-tuk.
Sure, yeah.
It just, I don't want it. Like, I can buy it the next day. I just don't want it.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't feel like I needed one yet.
Yeah.
But then recently I just starting to like kind of fantasizing, oh, if I have a car, I'm gonna go there. And then you know what? I just say, okay, I'm gonna set a goal. Like say in 12 months, I'm gonna buy this car. How I'm gonna get there, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just like
you'll figure it out.
A wish, like a wish list. I'm just like, yeah. That's how I get the whatever I have right now. It's all started with a wish list.
Yeah.
I think for you too, like example for football, right? Was it always a part of you since the beginning of the day when you start to realize what you want, or was it just a part of your hobby and then you kind of figured out on the way?
Yeah.
Like when did you actually decided, hey, this is the things?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question actually. And I'm sure you can attest to this also kind of with your journey, but it's never, well, at least mine has never been, the motivation never been like linear, you know what I mean? Like there are times where it's like, okay, this is what I want, but maybe not. And then, oh yeah, maybe not. And then it just keeps, it takes, you know, it's like, it's different levels. But no, actually, I had no, I mean, obviously I wanted to when I was a kid. I dreamed of it, playing professional football. I remember, I started when I was really young, maybe 5 years old. But I remember when I was in second grade, I don't know how they say it here, but second grade, we were told to write a book for school, like illustrate, like just like a picture book, and about I forget what it was about, but I remember I drew on one page, like one spread, so it was like 2 full pages. It was like this whole thing of like me playing football, like playing professional football, and I had like drew people in the stands, crowd, and I drew me like shooting like a goal, and then the bottom it said I want to play professional football at the bottom, and so I always had the dream. But when I was playing as a kid, like I was really small, like really, really small, like the smallest kid on the field, not only like in size, but I was also very skinny. My doctor, well, my dad told me this, but growing up, parents could go to a doctor like during your checkup and kind of ask about like, oh, how tall do you think like our kid is going to grow up to be? My doctor told my parents that my size, like I was only projected to be 5'4". Yeah, I'm 5'11" now, so thank God I'm not that small. But anyways, so like I was just like this small kid, always getting like pushed around on the field, whatever, not taken seriously. And then high school, things started to pick up. I started to grow a little bit. I started to get a little more serious about football. And then it was my sophomore year of high school, so 10th grade. I was maybe 15, 16. It was the summer going into my junior year. For those that don't know, junior year of high school is whenever people tend to start like making ideas about, oh, where are we going to college? What am I going to study? Like all this stuff. And I was at a point where I was just like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Like at this point, like I don't know. And so that summer I was like, okay, like I want to play Division I football in college. Like this is my goal. And like, kind of like you were saying, you set a goal and you don't really know how to get there, but you'll figure it out. And so I figured it out. I told myself, okay, the way you're going to get there is by like analyzing yourself, right? But then training the areas where, like perfecting the areas where you're already good at, and then like making the areas where you're a weakness, make them better, make them stronger. So literally every single day that summer, we have like a 1 or 2 month summer, every single day I would go and train by myself at a local pitch for like 2-3 hours, just me and a ball, just whatever. I was training, like I said, perfecting my strengths and working on my weaknesses. And all of them were like, I made sure to make them as game realistic and game-like as possible so that they translate whenever I was playing on the field. So it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just going to go to the park for a couple hours, like juggle the ball, like, you know, just do this, that. No, I knew what I was doing. And then my junior year is when I had the best season of my life, like at that point. Like I popped off, and that's when I got my first and only Division I offer, was after that junior season.
Wow.
And it was all because I made that conscious effort and that conscious decision to work during that summer when my friends were partying, doing all this and that, because in high school, I mean, that's what, like, you have no school, like, you have all this free time, like, you're gonna go party, hang out with your friends. Like, I didn't. I literally was playing football every day, like, all day, because I wanted this goal so bad. And then, yeah, it came, and then I carried those habits into college. There was a moment in college where I was like, okay, maybe football's not my thing. Maybe it's not what I was called to do. And I went through a moment of like real doubt because I wasn't playing. Oh. And so I was like, oh, okay, like I want to, but maybe it's time that I give up the dream and go get it like a real job. And then coincidentally enough, that was the summer that I went to go intern for the accountant. Oh. And then I realized, I was like, nope, not doing that. And then that next season, so it usually goes like, yeah, summer, then you have the season. Season, I played really well, and then went to my last and final university in Florida, and then had, the best college season that I had, and then was able to get picked up by the MLS team. So, yeah, the journey to where I am, it was a lot of high points for sure, but also a lot of like low points of just like having to decide and make sure like I was staying true to myself and true to what I wanted. And that's the beauty of the journey and the process and everything. So I hope that answered your question. Kind of a long little tangent.
Honestly, it was not a question. It was more like I tried to trigger you to share your side of the story, which I think like we don't get enough chance to talk about it. Like, I mean, you cannot randomly going on your own platform and try to say, "Hey, guy, I came from."
Right.
I mean, like you can, but it's just people will be like, "Why? Like, why are you telling me this?" But I mean, of course, like, really appreciate the fact that you share your story and then like the up and downs, because oftentimes people only hear about the high point,
right? That's
like what you went through, and then kind of like all the good stuff, but they don't really hear the stuff that you are struggling with, especially when you said about when you start to doubt yourself. I also had that like a couple of times already while I'm doing this, and you actually had to go through that, like in order to perfect yourself into the next level, and to at least love it more,
Exactly.
And I mean, of course, the color faded. Anything is always progress forward, doesn't go backward. So same as our passion toward what we love, what we're doing.
Exactly.
You need to find new things, new challenges. Like you coming from the US to here, right? Got to know what you expected and like how nervous you were back then, trying to see, hey, am I gonna fit in a team? Like how I'm gonna talk to my teammate. But I mean, man, like I remember when you talk about earlier when you were in second grade, you drawing on a book, like a mini book with the crowd cheering for you as if you got that check. Scoring the goal, you just did check. And then like when you were talking about that, my image was seeing you shooting the penalty kick and score, right? You see how people reacted, and also the social media, they kind of congratulate you on that. Like they really want you to success. And like I really love the crowd sometimes, like honestly, like most of the time, not sometimes, but I mean they're downtime as well.
For sure.
But like they're really encouraging. Like they want to see you grow, and then they also want to see us a team. Right. Like doing something bigger, right?
Right. Yeah. And I'm so thankful for the people that do support me. Like I said, I never really had that. I mean, like that many people supporting me, but to see like all those people supporting me and even supporting our national team. I mean, sure, like we've gone through a bit of like a tough time, but to see like their continual like unconditional support, it means a lot to me. Not only me, but also the team.
Yeah, the whole team.
The whole team. I mean, we do work really hard to try and change the results to improve, to get better, and I think we actually finished this past year on a good point. I mean, the tournament we performed, I would say, relatively well.
I mean, as a fan, it's better than my expectation.
For sure.
I say this to your face, man. I mean, honestly, I watch all the matches, and I saw there's a lot of improvement on the team as a whole, and then also the understanding between player and the coach. And unfortunately, thank you, Honda, for what you've done. I'm also a fan of his as well, and hopefully one day he will be on the show. I have to learn Japanese as well because I love Japanese. I love the language. I did try to learn it in the US, but then my professor was telling me that, oh, you better focus on your English first. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
It's a cool language.
Yeah, it is a
culture.
cool language.
But he speaks a little bit of English.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
I mean, he speaks well, but it's just like, it feels more connected when you speak their language sometimes.
Right.
Like to just say, hey, I care. And also I love the culture. And it's just put you two into a very comfortable like situation to talk, right? Like for us, I mean, out of the blue, right? I just messaged you, and then honestly, man, like when I first, I mean, I did not plan this, like how I would just gonna contact you. It was just naturally. I was watching the match, and then after the match, I was like, yo, bro, you did good job. All these things, like I like how you done.
Yeah.
And then like get for coffee. I was very patient about it as well. I saw you were like traveling around a lot, and I thought you went back already, and then you came back for the match, right?
Yeah.
And patiently we met. Thanks you for the coffee, like the time you spent. I think that was good that we actually met before,
right?
So that we can at least like got the idea right? And like also this is a good chance for me to test myself too, because I haven't spoken English for so long.
Yeah, no, you speak really good English.
Thank you. But I've honestly, like, I mean, no shame. Like when I left Cambodia to abroad, my English was really bad. Like, but the school that I got scholarship with, they just said, "Hey, it'll be fine. We're just gonna send you to training, and then you're gonna be fine. You're gonna do good in school." Yeah. Like this, right? That like the language you use in classes is not the same as language you're using in real life, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I you know what I did? I did philosophy. I did philosophy, and then I did some science like math and physics, which kind of generic. But philosophy, man, is like
different level, bro.
Yeah, but the thing is that
different level of English.
Yeah, exactly.
It's even hard for me to understand sometimes.
Exactly. This is why I did it. I even majored in philosophy in school.
Really?
Because I found out that it's a fair play between the native speaker and me.
Yeah.
Like we both struggle.
Exactly. That's very true.
Exactly. Right?
The hardest part about philosophy is understanding what they're even saying.
It's like the English of the English.
Exactly, right? Exactly. It's like top level English. It's like you were saying, even people that can speak English can't even understand.
Yeah. And our Khmer word, like Khmer language, is a derivative of Bali and Sanskrit.
Okay.
Right. So philosophy for me is like Sanskrit in Khmer, right?
Yeah.
Like say, okay, you speak Khmer, and then you want to know like the high level, like super like fancy language. Sanskrit is like that, right? Because some of our words are like that, like completely directly from Sanskrit. So I was that. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do this, right? And then I was doing good in school, and then luckily I survived. Otherwise, I would have been like so stressful.
Right. No, that's impressive that you actually you went through the philosophy, because a lot of people are afraid of it because of that reason.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It helps, man. It helps me a lot. Like even right now, like I never thought that whatever I've learned in school would contribute to what I'm doing. It just like sometimes there's like a lot of people ask me like, what should I study? And then if I want to study this, where should I go to school for? I'm like, actually sometimes you just need to try it, man. You just need to go for it first and see how you like it, because
for sure
you might like the school, but then when you attend the school, you might not like the way they're doing activities and the program and then the curriculum, all of these things. So I'm not the one who could go and tell them, hey, the school is good. Like I've never been there.
Exactly.
The reputation might be good, but then it might be different.
But it may not be your learning style. Like every school is different. Every professor is different.
Exactly.
Like even within the same, like for me, economics, like even within the same department, the professors that teach us, different professors teach the same classes, and people would get wildly different scores. Like some would, like, you knew, like, okay, there was this class, they had these two professors, and everyone knew which professor to not take, because they're like, if you take that professor, you won't pass. Like, that was just how it was.
I can tell that. Like, I can relate to that so much. Like, surprisingly, like, I got like A in writing classes.
Nice.
I was like,
nice, man.
How? I'm like,
that's good.
English, like
that's
English
good.
literature writing classes. I got A. I'm like, oh, okay. But then, I kept all the record, and I went look back, like, I was deep back then. Like,
that's good, man.
Wow.
No, that's
but
awesome.
I mean, like, the thing is that, like, when you perform in classes, you have to work really hard.
Of course.
Like, things you have peer tutor to help you, and then also check your wording, but they didn't like completely correct everything, and they just like, hey, you should look into this. Right. There might be some error that you can right. There was that. What I did right when I was in school abroad was that I always seek help when I needed to. I was not afraid to say, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
And most people who travel abroad, when they face issue, when they struggle like with life or things that they found themselves in, like, you know, stuck into, because they don't have the balls to go out and say, hey, help me please, I need help, right?
Yeah, it takes humility, bro, to ask for help.
I don't see any problem just asking for help, right?
Yeah, but it's admitting that you're wrong or that you don't know.
Well,
that's hard.
I mean,
that's
one of the key factors for improvement. Like for
100%.
for your career, right? As an athlete, you're playing in a team, for example, right? When you know yourself that you're not performing enough, like you said earlier, you have to go training by yourself. Like it took a lot of dedication, hard work, and discipline that I always explaining to my audience. Like self-discipline,
is number one.
Exactly.
Discipline is number one.
Yeah, it can make you accomplish anything if you like really like stick to it.
It is the deciding factor between accomplishing a lot and accomplishing nothing.
Exactly.
100%.
I agree. That's why I was really interested in hearing your story, because oftentimes people are hearing like, you know, oh, player A, player B, this good, like go to this club or playing at this level. Well, they have no idea what they went through. They have no idea like what type of mindset they do have. Like, I mean, of course, the biggest player like Ronaldo, Messi, we always see them talking.
Right.
But what about other player that, like the local player, for example? Like for me, comparing to supporting a team abroad and comparing to supporting the team like locally, if you want me to choose, like if I can only choose one, I would choose the local team.
Yeah, why not?
They're the one who actually experience my daily lives, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but if you follow social media enough about people who supporting team from abroad, like Premier League, La Liga, or World Cup, for example, they would go like argue against each other because of like who is Messi, who is Ronaldo. I was like, why? They're doing their things and we're here like struggling with life, you know? Just spend your time doing something else. Yeah. And then the local team playing like locally.
And you don't go support them.
You don't go support, and then you just sit at home watching on your phone and say, "Oh, the live stream is really laggy. The angle of the camera is not watchable. Oh, the audience like is not like cheering enough."
Yeah.
Why don't you go?
Yeah. Can I take this moment to address the audience? Please go support your local teams and also national team. The more, I don't think you guys understand, the more fans that are in the stadium, the more like energy and the more exciting a game can be, because the crowd really does influence a game. Like it can make or break a game, because the crowd adds momentum and energy. So that's why, I mean, sometimes it's hard to go play. For example, whenever we went to go play Indonesia, bro, 30,000 people were at that game, and they were loud, like super loud. Like you couldn't even like talk to the person next to you, because like just it was all around you. They were chanting, screaming, singing, like incredible. And that it has such a big effect on the players. Home team, you have 30,000 people supporting you. Away team, you have 30,000 people against you, like saying things, screaming at you, booing you, whatever. Like it's like football, athletics in general. It's a physical game, but it's also very much a mental game. So if you can affect someone's like mentality or psychology during a match, it gives you that extra edge. So please go to support your teams. I'll
make sure I cut that segment for you.
Okay.
I'll make sure that segment will be like exclusively like a clip.
Okay, yeah.
Why not? Honestly, like I also want to see, like, because I told you, right, I've been to a game when we were playing at the Olympic Stadium, where like the full house, right? I mean, even as an audience, man, I was there, you know, enjoying every single second, which is every single breath I took, you know. I was like, thank God I got to experience this in my country, because growing up seeing, I got goosebumps saying this, man.
I see, yeah.
No lies, it was just unforgettable feeling, because like you're seeing all your people coming together for one exact same cause, is to win as a team, as a country.
It's beautiful,
right?
man.
And like I feel so proud of all those players who are like, you know, under a lot of pressure, being on the field and trying to get the result, and also like at the same time, you know, need to think about a bunch of other things while playing as well. And I cannot speak on behalf of them.
Sure.
I mean, you know this, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, I really hope that SEA Game is coming. And definitely, I believe that SEA Game going to be big.
I hope so.
I hope to see you there.
I hope so too. We'll see.
សហព័ន្ធជួយមើលគាត់ផង I just say to the FFC to please make him play. You know, like because we a couple of times we came really close to make it to like semi-final. Yeah, man, we came really close, and I believe that our team this year gonna be really doing well. Because it's our home turf.
Right.
And also we got a crowd behind him, and then we all should go and support, and I'm gonna be there for sure and screaming as much as I can.
Yeah, no, you should. That's good, and I think everyone should too. I mean, not just football, but everyone should go and support
every sport,
other sports.
It's our time, you know. This is the first time we hosting, both Para SEA game and then SEA game. So it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, big moment for Cambodia.
Yep.
Not only on the athletic level, but just to show ourselves to the world, you know.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
And I mean, just speaking on the football team and the SEA Games, I agree. I think we're in a really good moment. We have a lot of really good young talent. I mean, Chantia, Pisol, name the two big superstars. I mean, they are incredible players that definitely are going to shine.
I just love, honestly, I love the whole team. It just them two. I see like the dedication and then the determination. To just get goals for the audience, for the fans, you know, always there for them, and like, of course, like they would not be able to perform well if the entire team is not functioning as a team.
Exactly.
That's what we wanted to raise to mention. It's a team sport.
Of course,
you can have a superstar in the team, but then if the team doesn't work as a team, the superstar doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Like I think for me, like there's this analogy. It just came to my head is that like, okay, there's a superstar, right? But the team is like the sky.
Sure.
That would showcase the star.
Exactly.
Right?
That's a good way. I like that analogy. That's a really good analogy.
Right. You cannot be a star without the sky.
It's very true.
Yeah. You look up, you just see a star like a fake star, like a light bulb.
Yeah.
So the team has to perform as the sky, and then the audience is the ground.
Of course.
To make sure that functioning is together.
Of course.
Philosophy.
That's very good.
Philosophy.
Man, I'm actually. I didn't know you took philosophy classes. I love philosophy and psychology. So
do you read?
I read all the time. I love reading.
Well, like among sorry to interrupt. Like among all the philosopher, like which one that? I mean, of course, I would not gonna ask you which one is your favorite because they are like they all have their own.
They're all different, yeah.
Like which one is like you tend to kind of like agree with most?
I've read like you said, just kind of like various. I would say I've read a good amount of like Freud. And Nietzsche a little bit.
Nietzsche, Leap of Faith.
Yeah. So I mean, I've read just various little things about them, but I find that it helps. I mean, it helps in life, but it also helps me in sport.
Bro. It does. Sport. Yeah. Oh, you read the big two, man. Nietzsche is quite aggressive on like things you're doing, and also like not to overdo stuff.
Right.
He say like when you're doing too much stuff, and then you just spoil the whole process.
Exactly.
And then there's I don't know if you heard about his name is Ludwig Wittgenstein. He's I think he's I don't know, German, but then he fled to Norway. He's a philosophy of language philosopher. Okay. It's a very interesting, topic. When I read it, it was just more like, you know, have you heard this word say words are bullets?
I have heard that before. That's words are bullets. Yes. That's his saying.
He's saying like his research was on that. Like
I actually saw that the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
But then he went even further, saying about language. Like when you translate things from, like, say for this podcast, for example, I'm gonna try my best to not ruin the meaning of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it would be best for people who even though your English is not that good, try to understand it in the way that you understand English.
Yeah.
You would get more context than me giving you the interpretation.
Right.
Because like I do not believe that, you know, like a second-hand understanding from someone else telling you this is what it meant. Yeah, it's not authentic, you know. I like the first-hand translation.
It's not the same. Yeah. First-hand understanding is what.
Yeah. So that's what he said. Like sometimes that lost in translation, and then it can cause chaos.
Right.
People can fight, people can love because of translation and languages.
Of course.
And in each language has its own value.
Yeah.
You would not discount on other language, say, hey, your language sounds like not comfortable to listen to or very hard to speak. But then you don't know how much value that language has.
Exactly.
Like intrinsically in its own.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
That's
sorry.
no, that's deep. That's deep. We could honestly go deep. We could go really deep into that right there because my brain went here and I was like maybe we shouldn't go that deep. But yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, and it's true. Maybe next time that I'm on this podcast, I'll be able to speak Khmer, and so it'll be easier for everyone to understand.
Oh,
me.
by the way, he's looking for Khmer tutors. Is someone willing to teach him, please? But I mean, like someone who is willing to work hard and make him speak Khmer in a year, I would say.
Yeah, would be awesome.
No, I think if you're here.
If I am here.
Can you share that information, like whether you're going back or not? Like, honestly, I would not pressure you to do it because, like, I know, personally I know, but I just, it's your own choice.
Yeah.
I respect your privacy. I don't want to. I don't really care where you're going. I just want to know whether you're going back or you're gonna be around. That's all.
No, I want to move in Asia and stay in Asia.
Want it to move or you will?
I will. As of right now, yeah, I will. I want to, but I haven't signed anything, so I can't say that I will.
I know. Honestly, like
guaranteed.
For your level, no problem. It's really down to you. Like, for me, it's like this. Like, I want to do A, right? Unless if I'm doing A, it's gonna cost me something else like really badly. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
If I can do A without harming myself, then I would do it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in your level you can do it.
So I'm coming to Asia without having to sacrifice football. So that's what I really care about.
Okay, that's fair enough. And you need to train.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and also like I really want to submerge myself into, I mean, the Khmer culture first of all, but also just like. The Asian, I just like the Asian overall culture, and the U.S. is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I've been there my whole entire life, but I'm ready for a new challenge, a new thing. And as I've been visiting different countries, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, throughout this AFF Mitsubishi Cup thing, I fell in love with it more. And then talking to other teammates and everything too, like they've kind of convinced me as well. Because I was like, I don't know if I want to come to Asia. I like the US, blah, blah, blah. Easy. But then as it got on, I was like, I kind of like Asia. I kind of like being here. And then, I mean, I've been in Cambodia still. Like I haven't flown back. I haven't even booked my ticket back to the US yet. So I'm here, and I
Please
love
don't
it,
book
man.
it back.
I don't think I will, to be honest.
You don't need to, man. You can buy whenever, man.
No, I love it, man. Like, I'm sure I know people see me. I get messages sometimes, but like, I just like walking around and just exploring and just seeing different stuff. Going to
surprisingly,
different
like,
cafes.
man, you've been around a lot, like.
But I walk all around, man. I get around.
Yeah, that was like, wow, this guy actually enjoying his life, like have the time of his life of being. Yeah, but I mean, how do you feel like being recognized by the local and also like I don't know if you follow social media. There's like a lot of people are kind of like, hey, baby, like they like. I mean, not like no offense to them. I mean, I'm not saying anything like negative. It's just like they adore you.
Sure.
They as in like like the ability as an athlete is one, and then there's other things, element as a human being that they kind of like, wow, this guy is good looking. He can play well, and he also like being here, all of these things.
Yeah.
How do you take it? Like, was it overwhelmed for you?
In the beginning, kind of, but I honestly like. I love meeting people that recognize me, that see me. I mean, yesterday I think there was like 4 or 5 kids. I was at Fun Mall. 4 or 5 kids, like a football area upstairs on the third floor.
They do have that. Yep.
And I was there, and they went and they recognized me. They're like, oh my gosh, like Nick Taylor, blah blah blah. And then I was like, you guys want to go play football? And so I spent like probably 30 minutes playing around with them.
Pickup game.
Yeah, a little pickup game. These kids, like, they're like young kids, maybe like, I don't know, 10, 12. But like, I love it. Like I'm so open to meeting people. I love when people like talk to me or say like, oh, hey, can I get a photo? Whatever. I like very open to it. And if we can play football or anything, like, yeah, let's play. Why not?
Man, I mean, no offense to other players, but I mean, like, maybe they're not active enough on social media, or like I didn't came through it. Sure. Like, as a national team player, like I saw you've been playing around like a lot.
Yeah.
Like I mean, at least like what I know, because I mean I played with the national team player before, like we play pickup games, but usually we don't put on social media.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm like, bro. Well, I mean, the other national team player, they play with friends, at least like within the circle, right? Just to warm up.
Yeah.
To keep themselves in shape. But you like there.
This is like maybe the perception could be seen. I'm just making a point here, but like
I know.
Like it could be seen as like, oh, he's just going to do that so he can get like recognition, fame, all this stuff. But no, I don't. I'm telling you right now, like I don't care about fame, about any of that stuff. Like I am just a guy, bro. I play football and I like. That's it, bro. Like I'm nothing really to be idolized. Like I'm just a guy.
I can vouch for that. I can vouch for that. You know why I can vouch for that?
Because you're big time too.
No.
Honestly, you're more big time than I am.
No, to be honest, man. Like I think when to study abroad and like experiencing things that I would say seeing outside world, right? And understanding the value of respect and also like being a nobody outside of the country really brought like different perspective to my life. As it like like say in the US, right? There's so many superstars, right? But nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like you live your own life, and then I live my own life, and it's like I'm struggling to find like food on my put on my plate, and then like paying my rent and all of this fee. That was their biggest like purpose in life.
Yeah, it's crazy. In the US, you can be a superstar and still struggle.
Exactly. So I was like I experiencing that. Like I went through that phase of like, man, how do I survive this month? Like, or how do I pay for the phone bills, or like how do I travel home or buy the plane ticket for my vacation? It was all of that. Like I don't have like any other time to think about. Oh, I want to see David Beckham, or I want to see like Shakira. Like, no, doesn't give me anything, right? So when I came back, I started work with a company and then got a job. Was a TV producer for a while. Met with so many celebrity. They were very cool, and then kind of really deep into their world and seeing, oh wow, some of them are really like alone, like lonely.
Yeah.
They have nobody. And then some of them like
it's hard, man.
Yeah, and some of them have zero privacy. Like they cannot go out and eating out, or they have no more life,
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm also in the shoe.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, what? And and then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna make my life as miserable as them. Like, no offense, it's just like I feel so bad for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if they enjoy it or not, but from the outside, I saw it. They were not happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna name who, but it's just like, bro.
Yeah. Everything comes with a cost, man.
Yeah.
There's
But
a
for you
price
as
for
well,
it.
like when I see you going to places, like of course people are gonna say things, and it's a part of life, and it's their right to say so, and from your background, from your culture, from your status quo, the way you live in the US, these things was not a priority.
No.
It's just like you will not earn anything from it.
Right.
Unless that you are like getting brand deals and then being paid not to go out and meet people, then it's a thing. It's a job, right? But your job is on the field, whenever the team play in the pitch, that's your job.
Yeah.
And then off the pitch, you be whoever you want.
Exactly.
And I'm so glad that you're being able to be you and then not feeling pressure, because for me personally, it's a good example for others as well. Like hopefully they can see it as it like a good, I would say this will grow even better, like if you like find a way to maintain that and also like balance, because sometimes I think you are being really too nice.
I'm being too nice.
Yeah, honestly, like you have to learn how to say no, man. Actually, I wanted to give you this advice when we first met, because like no offense to other people, like I keep saying this word so much because I'm afraid that I will offend someone, because I came across with a couple of friends who uses me. And I found out way later, but then I did not regret it because I've learned something from it as well. It just like you see this movie called Yes Man, like
Yes Man, yeah.
Actually the context of the movie is like a no man. Learn how to say no, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of spoiled the film a little bit, but learn how to say no sometime, man, because you need your own space. You need to you need to find your own routine. Because if you end up living here, it's gonna be a lot to learn. Even in Asia as well, like you're gonna meet a lot of people, and definitely like friend changes come and goes. You're gonna have a lot of bubbles. This is one thing it's a fact. Like you will have your own bubble, or it's really depend on you how you're gonna break it, or you're gonna jump around the bubble. Like for me, I try to jump around the bubble as much as I can because I don't want to stuck with one group and then just my world is that bubble. No, exactly. Man. No, I don't live in a bubble, man.
I don't live in a bubble.
Yeah. I live in the ocean.
Right. Yeah, smart. Yeah.
Sorry to talk a lot.
No, you're good. You're good.
You remember I told you I was like so nervous to do this.
Yeah.
But then like I said,
doing great.
Things can be related once you start to share your opinion and your perspective honestly, without trying to think about how do I script this.
Right.
Like that's why I'm doing this podcast, because like having you coming on here and sharing your side of stories, and also like people get to know you more.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure like people who take a picture with you doesn't know where you're from, like what you study, and then like how you feel about life and like where you want to go, right?
Yeah.
The thing helps.
I'm working on like, and that's what I want. We talked about this before, but I'm working on kind of putting myself more out there, and like allowing people to know a little bit more about me. I've typically been a private person, but I realized that maybe now it's worth putting myself out there a little bit. So we'll work on that. But to go back to what you were saying about the say no sometimes, I mean, I do have boundaries that I know, like if someone's like, okay, you're being a little too much, or they're asking for things, just crossing those boundaries. Like I know when it's okay to just like say no, and to like, but not be mean about it, but just be like, okay, like you're being too much.
All right, that's good. That's all. I just want to say what I want to say.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank
advice.
You.
I mean, any advice, anything that I'm open to receiving.
I mean, even though you're not open, I was gonna tell you because who cares? For me, it's like this, like I learned it the hard way, is that like if you value the friendship with anyone, don't let them ruin their life while you knowing that they're doing some things that might harm them, right?
Yeah.
It just, I'm 37, Yeah. I am 37.
You're 37?
I am 37.
You don't look 37. I told you this. You don't look 37.
Yeah, thank you. My parents often told me that trust them because they went through a lot. Uh-huh. And I never realized that until I actually went through a lot myself. Definitely there are people who like you completely trusted, like completely like 1,000%. That's the person that I'm gonna tell everything. Still gonna hurt you no matter what.
Yeah.
So I'm not telling you to distrust anyone. It's just that like watch your back, because you're pretty new here, and it seems like you mingle around in different circles, and of course you're gonna meet a lot of people, which is good.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. You need to get out there and networking and then learn from them, right? As much as possible. And then once you found your own foundation or your own ground, you just stand up on your own stage and you say, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
Let's work together, all of these things, right?
Yeah. And no, I appreciate people like you that know like what goes on and like can give me advice. I've gotten a couple other pieces of advice from other people around that know things, know people, and know like who to avoid, I guess, or
definitely.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, again, I really do appreciate it, and I'm open to anything you want to help me with. But bro, you look like maybe 27 years old. I hope to age like you.
No, I can share you a little bit about like aging wise.
You got a skincare routine?
No, I did try, I did try, and
okay.
Then it didn't help much in terms of like doing things to how people look at me. It was all about inner peace.
Yeah.
Like you have to, of course, the biggest checklist on this is financially like stable.
Yeah, that's the biggest stressor.
Yes, you need to figure it out. And then you need to have like assets, like own a house, or things that you prioritize most, like a job. Like some people, they might prioritize a house than a job, because the job you can find whenever if you're able to do it. But a house, you need to get a job to buy a house. So you need to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And for me, before I was completely like messed up with what I want first. It was either a career or a family, a house, or a car, or a bike, or a camera. It was just not even clear like what I wanted. And then through the process, it's just like, oh, I got this. Oh, I have this. And then I put into a checklist. I'm like, oh, I got all like everything I wanted.
Yeah.
Why would I stress about? Like, you know. So and I'm not greedy. Like I got offered so many things that I can do and then make way more money than now, and would have been more stressful. And I was like, no, not worth it. I don't want to do it. I'm happy here. I'm happy where I am, and I can tell in the next 10 years I will be able to do this more, or I will be stable even if I don't do this job.
Yeah.
That leads to the question I want to ask.
But before you ask my question, but was it before you got to the point we're at now where it's like, okay, you can kind of pick and choose about, you know, what you like? Did you have to go through saying yes to a couple of things that maybe did cause you a little more stress?
I was a yes man.
So,
I said
yes to
too much yes to everyone.
But do you think you have to kind of go through that process of saying yes and figuring out what you like and what you don't like before you can get on that platform and be like, okay, no, maybe not this one, or no, not this one?
No, I would encourage people to say yes first, like a lot, because some people need to learn the hard way, and mostly here, like people would not believe you unless you actually take the actions and provide the result. Yeah. And I'm like this, like in philosophy again, there's idealism and realism. They're like, idealism is probably people who theorize a lot about things without taking the actions. And realism, people who like believe in the evidence and the truth in the experience, thing that they can see, right? Yeah. So you need to find the balance. Of course. You need to stay in the middle. You cannot be the extremist to, I'm like a complete idealism. I'm complete like idealist or a realist. You cannot be. You have to be in the middle. Yeah. Socrates said the best balance is stay in the middle. Yeah, no, friendship, stay in the middle.
With everything, brother. Yeah. Everything. Life is about a balance. Yeah. And everything.
Work-life balance, right? You told me.
Work-life, everything, but just everything in general, bro. Like you have to find the balance. I mean, I think if we're gonna get deep into philosophy, I think you have to test both ends of the spectrum. Okay. And before you're able to find a balance, you can't, at least from my experience, you can't just find that balance like straight off the bat. You know, you have to kind of test either side and then be like, okay, like this is what this feels like or what this is like, and then this is what this other one, and then just like, and then as you go on, you end up finding that balance. Yeah. But life is all about balance, man.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, like the scale doesn't have to be perfect. It can be a little bit on that, a little bit on this, but it's fine. You just need to at least try to balance it
as much as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
And then whenever you're on those, like, whenever you find yourself on either side of the extremes, is whenever you're gonna see a lot of conflict. So then it goes back into what you were saying about inner peace, and that's what brings you. The best aging serum is inner peace. So it's that life balance.
Yeah, like if you're not at peace, you cannot sleep well. Restless, and then you get stressed, and then like sometimes I got so many anxiety attacks like 2 years ago. I mean, like in the past 2 years, not 2 years ago, until like recently I started to manage to find a way to calm myself down. Yeah, like I keep asking my question when I start to get anxiety attacks, like, why would I give a shit about this? Excuse me. Like, why? I'm like, why? What's the matter? Like, is this not even a problem? Like, why would I have to like get anxiety about this? I randomly I was like, am I gonna lose my job? Like, what if people stop watching me? And then like, what if like YouTube shut down and then Facebook shut down? I'm like, dude, there's like multi-billion dollar company. Why would they shut down the next day, right?
But it's a real fear, like.
Big time.
And then whenever you're in those moments of like anxiety and you're having those anxiety attacks, they feel even more real than they actually are. So you were able to disconnect yourself from those thoughts. So you're having these thoughts of, what if I lose my job? What if YouTube, all that stuff stops working? But then you're able to kind of like take yourself away and distance yourself and be like, okay, like why am I even worrying about that? Like, and that's how you get out of those anxiety attacks. I similarly, reason why I can help with that and relate is because I also went through probably 2-3 years of like deep anxiety and honestly like kind of deep depression too. So I know what you're talking about, what that feels like. Yeah. And it's another one of those things where you just have to go through that kind of dark area to find the peace, find the light.
You need to get into the dark to see the light, man.
That's what I was just about to say.
Right?
It's true. Like if you don't go through those dark times, you won't experience the light. And like you have to embrace the dark times though.
Oh, of course, big time.
Because they happen inevitably. Everyone's gonna experience down moments. But what people tend to do, what I find, is that they try to like distract themselves or do something to kind of ignore it or push it to the side. But there's so much like freedom, I would say, and peace whenever you just allow all that stuff to kind of work its way through and work yourself through it. Because on the other end is like, yeah, it's peace, it's freedom.
That's right. Completely agree, man. Completely agree with that. Like when you said about freedom, that's one of the factors that actually contribute to how I feel like, I'm okay now, like I'm good, is like to let go all the fear of being judged by anyone. Like when I first started doing the content, it was always about how I'm gonna dress, how I'm gonna like do my hair, how I'm gonna look, like how I'm gonna say things, and the wording I was gonna use. So I was doing okay. I mean, like I have my routine. I kind of like I can separate between making a video explaining people and then kind of like make a good example for the audience, like the younger audience. And then later I realized that my audience are not young. they're older. So I started to slowly become me. And then there was a couple of rejection from them as well. They were like, oh, this is not you, And then I need to find the balance, like how to show them that it is me. And then through the podcast. The podcast really put me out there, like us being me. And then, usually you, like you said earlier, before we started, you were like, oh, I never done this before. But then you see, right now, we're just talking. We completely forget about things that around us because, like, that's how real I wanted people to experience about being able to listening to people's conversation and then sharing the side of the story. That's the value of life. You learn through that.
Right.
I've learned through hearing my friend's story too. Even like right now, sitting here, hearing your experience, what you're going through. I can tell my kids about this.
Sure.
I can tell my son, hey, you want to go this? Like, hey, you can do this too, Like, people went through that. You're not alone,
Yeah, exactly.
That's the reason why I'm doing this podcast, is to inspire the younger generation, people who love football, who want to become a national team players. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. It's doable. You just need to set your goal, and then the parents have to support this. Because, like I share with you my story, my dad cut my cleats into like half, burn all my uniform, like my jersey, because he thinks that playing football is useless, because I didn't go to school, because playing football it take away of my time, and then I might not doing well in classes. So that was back in like 20 years ago. So now you know what, if you're good at it, you will make way more than
you can make money.
Some people, like like not to compare, but it's just like it's a job.
It's respectable.
It's a future too.
Sure.
And you like that's again lead to the question I want to ask. Like, where would you imagine yourself in the next 10 years with career like what you're doing now?
Next 10 years. That's a good question.
Like, do you plan?
I don't have like concrete plans, but I have like ideas. So like that's the way I operate, is like I tend to have like an idea of where I would want to be in a certain amount of time. I don't put time constraints on myself though. Like 10 years, you need to have this, and this done.
No, yeah, of course.
I just have like a general idea. So, 10 years, that puts me at 34. Like you said, 24 in Asia is really young, especially in the football world. So in 10 years, I still want to be playing. For sure.
Of course, you can play till you're 40 now. The cap is at 42. Ibrahimovic, 42, still playing.
I know. And I feel like I have a young body. Like, that sounds weird, but like my body is, like I don't feel heavy. I don't feel old or anything. And I take care of myself really well. So still want to be playing in 10 years. But I do have, I don't want to spoil anything. Okay, this is another thing. I don't like to share too much my ideas or my goals about the future, because I find that when I do, they never come true.
Don't share then. Keep it to yourself.
But like explicit.
But you do have a certain like say goal or.
Yeah, I have I have a general idea of what I want to accomplish, but I will say that I want to do something similar to you, in that I want to inspire the younger generation and help people. Like that is my calling. That is what I want, and my life is what I feel like I'm called to do, is to help other people. Like, and that's what I want to do, and I think that's figuring out how exactly I'm gonna help people is something I need to figure out, obviously. But if I have that end goal in mind and I have like a general idea of how I'm gonna accomplish that, then I have the faith that it's gonna happen. So,
but family not in the plan.
Okay, obviously family.
I don't want to ask personal question. It's just
yeah, no. Family's obviously important.
But God knows what, like whenever, right? Like,
whenever, man.
You don't need to like, oh, I'm gonna have family. This like some people do, man.
Yeah.
Some people they like, oh, at 25 I'm gonna get married. I'm like, nah, bro, just like, you know what? If you can, just do it. If you don't, you need to live your life, man.
Yeah.
They're like, don't put pressure on yourself because
don't.
I see a lot of younger generation now. I mean, some of them are really good. Like they just enjoying the moment. They just explore and they just experience, like live their life to the fullest.
Yeah.
And some of them just like dwell like within their own checklist. Like, I mean, of course, it's good to have checklists sometimes, but not too much.
But it's a balance.
Yeah, less is more.
Less is more, sure.
Like
yeah.
my checklist, like not more than 3. I don't have more than 3 checklists. Like even like with my work, I would like in a week I would just put checklist. Okay, this is priority 1, 2, 3. The rest can be like whenever.
Okay.
I would not put myself into like I'm not a robot. Like I read books that people say, oh, you should have checklist. Done it. Like a lot of motivational speech. Like, but then the person who giving the motivational speech don't have a job. That's his job.
That is his
speak,
job.
Right? I mean,
yeah, isn't that funny?
I know. That's why I'm like, no, I'm not gonna follow you, man. I'm just gonna follow my life. I'm gonna live my own life the way I want it to, and of course, I'm gonna learn from it because I'm willing to learn from my mistakes, and that's why, like, you will have so much reason to live.
Yeah.
And whatever you do, you will have a good time with it, even though it's not big or even if it's a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm not encourage people to make mistake, but you can have fun with your mistake too sometimes.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about earlier. I mean, you learn through the first meaning, if we're having this conversation, someone's listening to us, they can derive a meaning from our conversation. But the number one teacher is experience.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, everyone's gonna make mistakes. Everyone's gonna have whatever. So like, you just have to learn from them.
In philosophy term, that's called imperialism.
Yeah.
Empiricism. Yeah.
I think that's right.
It's like knowledge derived from experience.
Yeah.
I used to have a website. I was so hardcore into that concept.
It's like, interesting, man.
Yeah, like do things to learn from it instead of saying things and wishing that it would happen.
Right.
Oh no! Like even like your career as an athlete, for me as a photographer, as a content creators, I need to have content for people to see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I need to take photograph for people to see what I can do, and you as well. You need to show what you got.
Yeah.
Often on the field as well, and in order to get a contract, right? And I think we need to talk more about your career a little bit. I mean, I don't want to run like you have to go somewhere else as well. Say. Like, okay, not go into detail with this, like how you came here, but it's just like when you first got contact, right? Like, was it like a big news for you? Like, was it always like a wish for you to be here playing, or was it just like out of the blue? You're like, bro, I got like, like how you got into a college?
Yeah.
Like the acceptance letters, like when you first read it, that feeling,
Mm-hmm.
Was it that like something like that?
It was, and honestly, I can't tell you.
Did you like jump off the chair and then going around screaming?
Okay, it wasn't like because it didn't happen like that, so I couldn't have done that. But the way like a lot of things, believe it or not, have happened in my life, kind of in a similar manner, where it's just like I'm not expecting it and then it happens. But anyways, so obviously with the time change difference in Cambodia and the U.S., so is why it made it really surprising for me. And it came out of the blue. So yeah, literally one night I went to sleep, and then the next morning I woke up and I gained like 1,000 followers on Instagram. And I was like,
why?
I was like, did someone like buy followers from me? And for like, is someone playing a joke on me? And then I saw it was like all people from Cambodia, and I was like, okay, like what? I don't know. And then it kept happening like for 3 days straight, just followers like flooding and then people messaging me, are you from Cambodia? Like, are you half Khmer? All this stuff. And I was like, this is so weird. Like, what happened? And then I get a message from one of the managers of the national team, And if I'm being honest, I thought it was fake because I was like, this is not real. Like this, like, come on, this is like, I had to look him up and everything. Like I checked him on Wikipedia, on LinkedIn, on everything. I was like, I want to make sure this is legit. So I did that, and then had a couple of phone calls with him. I had him talk to my family and everything too. And yeah, it just kind of, it went from there. We were able to organize something. They were able to get myself cleared to play a match, and then it happened. But it was something that was always in the back of my head. Like I knew I had the eligibility to play because my mom was born in Cambodia, and I actually had a teammate in college. He played for the Taiwanese national team in, I think, Olympic qualifiers.
Ooh.
Yeah. So he would, and like I remember he went and he came back. He's like, bro, like you could definitely go. Like you should try. And I was like, nah, like I don't know, like
how
I don't even know how, because he had been to Taiwan before, and he like was in contact with the embassy, U.S. embassy in Taiwan, and they were able to help him. And I was like, I've never been to Cambodia before.
You got no connection.
I have no connection. How do I even get there?
No, this is good. I really appreciate the fact that you share this type of story, because like people have no idea how it works, you know, like how it happens, you know. Actually, the team actually reach out to you.
Yeah, they reached out.
And that's a proof that like you know, like anyone else like out there, not just with football, like any sport, if you know that you wanted to be a part of the journey, and like for me, the key factor of having you guys here with us is, one thing is like a different perspective, a different challenge, maybe a different competitive, like, you know, physically, mentally, and also like, you know, how to say, like more international understanding about things that can improve within the team.
Yeah.
Like say example, like your experience living in the US, when you go out or you travel, at least like your English is really good. So with the team, I mean, no offense to the team, like some of them might not speak good English.
Yeah.
And then if they go abroad, right, like other team, they trying to kind of bully them or give them a hard time, or try to communicate, give them like some sensitive information. And then when you know Khmer and then you know English as well, you can help the team out. And then like, you know, some paperwork that you need to do. All of these minor things, you know, make life so much easier,
For
right?
sure.
It definitely think that I would say it's only get better from there. Once, like, you know, I really appreciate the federation actually. They've been doing this like in the past as well, which is good. Like we got the result, and I'm pretty sure in the future we might have more, because we have a couple of kids in France who like training with PSG, and we have the current Cambodian, like half Cambodian, half Thai right now. Dom from Bangtida Sons, he's training in La Liga, and he's also a part of the team as well. So like I got goosebumps again because I have really high hope for this, because I know like we going into a positive directions.
Yeah.
Like you can tell, you know, like where the team is heading into, right?
Yeah. I just think Cambodia as a whole is heading in a positive direction. There's a lot of big moments coming up for us as a country. So
yeah, definitely.
With SEA Games going on, and like I said, football. Those are only two I can really speak on, but yeah, it's good. I hope more.
I think you. Okay, sorry to interrupt. I think if you are here playing in the league, you can say more too.
Sure, I could.
Because it's like adding another layers to your experience, right? Even like in the local leagues too.
Yeah.
Because like we got player who went to abroad playing and then usually came back. I didn't hear much about their side of story. Like how is it like there? Maybe they're doing it internally, but definitely for you, man.
Yeah, I mean. Well, football is different in the U.S. for sure. Asian football and U.S. football are different. So, yeah, I mean, there are experiences that I could bring. There's also experiences here that other players have that I don't have. And, like, sharing those experiences with each other, it makes not only me better, but them better and the whole team better and everyone better. So.
Definitely.
But, yeah.
Relate back to how it happens, right?
Sure.
Was your parents, like especially your mom, like was she concerned about you traveling here, or was she like completely like encourage you to come, or like did anyone from your family member trying to stop you from coming, or did they just say, hey, go?
No one stopped me. They were very supportive of it once they found out that it was like legit, because I told them, I was like, hey, this is what's going on. I don't know if it's real or not, but I'm just telling you. They're like, okay, like we'll see. But once we went on the phone call and they got a little more confidence, My mom and my grandma came with me my first time here.
I saw that.
They did like a little interview too. But no, they were really supportive of it. And it was good for my mom to also come as well because that was her first time back in Cambodia since she left. And she left when she was 4. So and she's like a little bit older, around 50 years old now. So
yeah, wow, that's a long time.
Long time. And it was funny though because before we were coming, like obviously she had all she had was like her perception of Cambodia when she left, like 4 years old. And so she was getting all these different vaccines, all this like medicine. She's like, Nick, you need to be prepared. And like, there's a American footballer that played in the CPL, Johnny Campbell.
Yep.
And I was in contact with him. And I was like, do I have to get any of this stuff? Like, did you get any of these like shots or medicine? He was like, dude, I haven't been sick a single time since I've been here. My mom, on the other hand, was getting all this stuff because she was so nervous.
Mom always be mom, man.
Yeah, for real. But then when she got here, she was like, I was talking to her a couple days like into it, and she was so surprised. And she was like, oh, it's not as like, not what I thought. And she's like, it's really nice. It's actually really nice, what she said. Very nice.
So we broke the stereotype.
She broke, you broke it.
Yeah,
but not to blame her, because like
no, I don't blame her.
She went through like my whole that side of the family went through a tough time, and they left because of the Khmer Rouge. So
yeah, of course. That's how thing happen for so many families. Yeah. And like that when I heard you're saying about your mom getting the vaccine shot. Even me, like when I came back from the US to Cambodia, the school was not letting me out without getting the shot because there was a chance for me to go back. And they were like, no, you cannot leave the country without getting the shot. This is the shot. We give you for free. Just take it. Like lots of shots. I'm like, I'm Cambodian. I'm like, yeah, but you've been here for a long time. You can go back. I'm like, I still got I got diarrhea, but it was not from the food or anything. I was eating something bad.
Yeah, exactly.
I was eating a lot of mango, but it was normal for me. Man, it's like, I just feel like, why would they give me this shot? Like, I'm Cambodian, you know? And then like I brought some friend came after me to visit the country, and then they were like, dude, should I get shot? I'm like, don't get it. I got nothing. When they came and they were like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's easy, man.
Oh man, yeah.
Interestingly enough, I didn't get like any sickness or anything when I came here, but when I went back to the US, I got sick. I had like really bad.
Next time you should get shot back to the
US. Exactly.
We do have that too.
I had diarrhea for like a month. It was awful. God. And then I went through a period where there was one whole week where I couldn't get out of bed.
Oh, you just like exhausted.
My body was just dead tired.
Just like shut down.
Yeah, it
not
literally shut down.
You know why? You know why is that happening?
Why?
They don't want you to go back.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a sign, man.
Live here and then just go there for visit. That's it.
It was a sign. It was like, see what happens whenever you go back to the US.
Yeah, man.
You're gonna get screwed.
Just, hey, get a house, get an apartment, whatsoever. Like, just nail down where you live, and then I'm just gonna say, Mom, come visit.
Yeah, exactly. No, I honestly do love it in this city. Like even in Siem Reap, love Siem Reap.
Yeah.
So like, I like nature and everything. So
Siem Reap is so beautiful.
Like, bro, whenever I wake up in the morning and go to these I would go to a new cafe every single day and just, bro, like the trees and the.
Wait, do you pay for the entrance fee for Angkor Wat?
I didn't go to Angkor Wat the last time I was there, but when I did go, yeah, I paid the entrance fee because I know that, but they started talking to me.
No,
in
actually,
started talking to me into Khmer, and I was like, yeah, I can't speak Khmer.
Oh well,
like, okay,
bro, you don't need to.
You're American.
You're national, like by default, you're national team players.
I know,
as I know, but I mean, I hope they're seeing this.
Yeah,
they need to give you an ID, man. We're like being a part of the team already, like qualify you for this.
Right.
Of course, like you need to learn Khmer as well. Like for me, if I go to like live in another country, I get the citizenship. Like of course, you need paperwork. You need like a passport or an ID. I'm pretty sure you will have it.
I have a passport.
You have Khmer passport?
Yeah.
You should have shown it.
I showed it to them, but they were like,
No.
You can't speak it, so no, you can't.
That's bad marketing.
Well, that's bad marketing.
For them, that's bad marketing. Probably they didn't know.
Well, even the last time when I was in Siem Reap like a couple weeks ago.
I know who to talk to.
You did? Okay.
I know.
I went to another temple. I didn't go to Angkor Wat. I went to like more of a low-key temple. And they even, the same thing. Like, they're like, year 4, and I'm like, no, I have a Khmer passport. I showed it to them, and they're like looking at me, and they're like, they almost made me pay, but I went in for free. Thankfully.
No, you should be free.
Yeah.
And plus, like, the more you play on the TV, people will recognize.
Sure.
And then make it so much easier.
If I can, whenever I start to learn more
Khmer,
and I'm able to speak to them, so
again,
I can walk up wearing this very touristy
honestly,
shirt
like,
and still be able to be like, yeah, I'm Khmer. So I look like a tourist, but
I honestly, like, I can see Khmerness in you.
Yeah, good, because I'm half.
You do have Khmerness in you, and like, definitely, we see if you're here, things gonna happen, and also, like, luckily you already got a passport, which is the hardest things to get.
Right.
But they manage.
Yeah. Shout out to the Federation for helping me.
No, they need you to have that.
They were awesome.
You travel around a lot, so.
Yeah, everyone that was involved in that process, I owe a lot to. Like, people did a lot of great things for me, and I honestly very much appreciate
it. Shout out to them for sure. And of course, the whole process is for the nation, right? It's like the whole result, like when the team wins, the whole nation like clap.
Yeah, exactly. They all celebrate.
Congratulate the whole thing, celebrate the whole thing. So
for sure.
That's how what sport can do to people.
Yeah.
Man, we talk a lot, bro.
I think we could talk for a whole lot longer than the podcast. A lot.
No, like, definitely. Like, stick around.
We haven't even gotten into psychology and philosophy that much yet, and I could talk your ear off.
I always re-invite my guests back because, of course, the first one always like a warm up, right? We did a warm up already. This one is more like a little deep dive into like how it happens.
Yeah.
And later probably like 1 year after in Asia or wherever you are, and then like, wow, I can see this now. You never know. And honestly, like, the door is always open, and really appreciate the fact that you share so much story that,
of course,
usually would be really hard for people to open up about their experience. But I know you're an American, so that wouldn't be a problem. Also, like, I got a chance to talk to you before. I know, like, how far I can push and how far I should not push. Which is good.
You can push pretty far. Like, I'm very open person, and like I will say, like, I have a lot of like deep thoughts, but I'm not one to I won't share them openly. Like, you have to ask me. You have to be like genuinely interested in understanding how my brain works for me to answer the question.
Yeah, of course. That's why I said I had to trigger things for you to say about it.
But like, even off the podcast, like, I'm sure we'll hang out. So
of course
we'll have the moments to really talk.
Definitely. Doesn't need to be on camera or on the podcast, man. Because like I said, everyone have their own choice to do things, and of course, you don't have to share everything with everyone.
Of course,
they don't need to know. There's certain things that worth knowing, and certain things just worth keeping to yourself.
For sure.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
All right, and okay, I think we should end by now because you have to go somewhere else as well, and it's lunchtime.
Is it around that time? I think
it's not running out of time, but I think we should stop now for the fact that you're not late for the next meeting.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And I think things that I expected to ask on behalf of the audience already asked. Like, I did think about it. Like, usually I don't prepare questions. I just have to. I thought in my head, just like, hey, what if I ask him this and people would want to know or not, right? And I think I already did, like, things that like you haven't said on the media, which is good. And also, like, my main purpose in this podcast is for people to know you more.
Yeah.
Not really talking about your career, because I think people can see that, can follow you.
Sure.
And guys, បើសិនជាអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាចង់តាមដានគាត់ page IG គាត់គឺនៅលើហ្នឹងនៅក្នុង description ក៏ដាក់ដែរ. So usually I put all the guest social media, like,
description.
Your description, because it's not for me, it's for them.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And one last thing still, like, do you have anything to share with people who love the sport, or in general, like, say if they have a dream of becoming a professional like athlete or pursuing this career, right?
Yeah.
What is the life lesson that you want to pass on to them?
I would just say, not just for this sport in general, but I mean, just in general, really. Like, I'm a big believer in dreams. I think dreams can definitely become a reality. So simple advice, just follow your dreams. I mean, there will be times whenever you doubt yourself, or maybe other people doubt you. But those are moments whenever you have to like double down. You know what I mean? And like really ask yourself if this is what you want. And then once you answer that question, you just keep going, keep falling, and just have faith that you'll get there. You'll accomplish your dreams. And I think that's all I got.
All right, man. I think we already talked a lot about life lesson anyway. No, I just want you to sum up like how you see things anyway. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I will say like last thing that like there was like if you would have looked at me as a player when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, no one, and I literally mean no one, would have said, yeah, this kid's going to be a professional athlete. No one would have said that. So the fact that I'm here is, you can say it's something short of a miracle, but you know, like I said, I had a dream. I had faith that it was gonna happen, and by a stroke of luck or whatever you want to call it,
Nah, there's no luck involved, man. You work for it.
That's true, but that's another thing I could say, but we'll save it. I think you create your own luck, but
that's also my motto too.
You create your own luck.
Luck is not provided. It's created. Yeah. So
I believe
okay,
that.
Yeah. Okay. អ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាអរគុណមែនតើជាមួយនឹងការស្ដាប់ I think យើងបានធ្វើឲ្យរយៈពេល1ម៉ោងជាងហើយ so hopefully you guys drive safe home, because usually I release the podcast at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Right the time when they left the office. They're listening all the way. So many people message me. It's like, oh, thank you. You know, I got stuck somewhere and then I just listen. And some people just driving from one place to the other for like 2 hours. They listen to it and then they message me, thank you. Like, it's a really enjoyable ride with your podcast. Like, there's people from abroad as well. Like, they like practicing Khmer.
Okay.
They were trying to like, thank you. The podcast really helped me with Khmer. Right now we got it in English.
There you go.
And thank you so much again. Like, you know, I never expected for me to do this in English at all. Like, if somebody like if a Khmer like guest came on and said let's do it in English, no
way.
No way, man. I would do it in Khmer because like, you know, there's so many things already out there in English.
Yeah.
And not unfortunately, but like it's just the way it is. You have to do it in English with you for now. And I'm pretty sure in the future you will be speak Khmer.
Yeah.
I believe this.
Yeah.
100%.
Again, if anyone knows a tutor that can help me, please message me.
Please message him. His social media is there. Yeah. No, I'm actually in the process of finding one for you as well, the good one.
Oh, cool.
The one that I know that have taught many people who like speak in a short term. So
cool.
Like, not in a short term, like within short term.
Okay.
Not in a short term.
Yeah. I'm willing to learn, man. Especially if I'm here, if I'm playing here. Yeah, let's do it.
I think you will. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay អ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាអញ្ចឹងអូខេអធិស្ឋានបើសិនជាមានកន្លែងណាមួយលឺឬក៏ប៉ះពាល់ដល់ណាម្នាក់ដោយចេតនាហើយពួកខ្ញុំទាំងពីរសូមអរគុណ We'll see you in the next episode. We can look into this and say goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.